Hey everybody, it's Ben with 8FD Designs in Decatur, Texas. Today I'm back in the Pallet area and we're going to do our next fun project. Up until now, all the projects we've done with pallet wood have been small tabletop home decor type items. But today we're going to do our first storage shed. Building sheds in small buildings is the primary reason that we got into the pallet recycling business. And it's finally time that we truly get that underway. As a reminder, our pallet business works well because we only get one kind of pallet. That means that it's easy for us to come up with modular designs for whatever we want to build, and we can break down pallets into a limited number of boards that are easy to store and use. Not too long ago, this entire area was stacked high with pallets, but as we've continued to repurpose all the different areas inside of our building, we had to move those pallets out to make room for our glue rack and more workspace. Over the last several weeks, we have broken down over 200 pallets into the format that we use for making buildings. To do that, we removed some blocking pieces off of the top, we then flipped the pallets over, remove the lower level of 1x4s, take off all of the blocks, and cut off the protruding nails. We then restack these pallets, which takes up a whole lot less space and has them ready for us to use. To get ready to do our first shed, we've cleared an inside area so we don't have to work out in the sun, moved all of our excess pallets out of the way, and are ready to get started. The first thing we're going to do is throw a couple of our stripped pallets on the floor, and then join them together using treated 2x4s. Once the floor frame is put together, we're going to flip it over and use blocking to attach our 4x4 runners to the bottom and make sure that they're secure. With that done, we're going to flip our frame back over and make sure it is perfectly level. Having the frame level before we get started will make it easier to plumb and straighten the walls as we build them. With the floor frame level, we're going to glue and screw the plywood floor. When framing with pallets, it's important to remember that all forms of stick framing rely on using multiple pieces of wood. The size of the individual pieces does not matter as long as the entire assembly is structurally sound. For our first wall, we're going to join together 2 more pallets. And then we're going to use 2 layers of 1x4 for the top and bottom plates, making sure that we overlap the joints to give the strength we need. We then continue to frame our walls, making sure that everything's straight and level, and ensuring that we have strong corners. On one end of the building, We'll use a 2x4 raised plate to add strength across the door opening. Once all the walls are up, we will use additional 1x4s to fill in the spaces on the pallet and to tie everything together. Our next step is to use 2x4 blocks and a long 2x4 to create a ridge pole. We then cut additional pallets to the appropriate size for our roof framing. As the various pieces of the shed come together, it's important to think about your detailing to continue to add strength to the assembly and have nice clean details on the exterior. To finish off the roof framing, we use wider pieces at the eaves to give us some overhang and to create a space where our trim can run up tight underneath the roof structure. Our siding overlaps the roof framing, tying the walls and the roof together and giving a nice clean finished detail. We use 1x4s and 1x2s to trim out our corners and our plywood joints. Once the roof panels and the ridge are on, the only thing left to do is build and install a door. The two keys to building a good shed door are rigidity and an overlapping trim system. Although we have designed our door not to sag or move, it's not realistic to think that there will not be some shifting of both the structure and the door as time goes on. To accommodate this movement, we make the structure of our door smaller than the opening and use overlapping trim to cover the gap. Depending on the layout of the shed, we frequently put an extra trim piece over the door to keep rain from getting in.
Here's our first completed shed. Since the siding comes to us pre-primed, the way we finish these out is to prime and paint the 1x4s, caulking them as we go. We leave the siding unpainted so that the customer can select their own color. Here in Texas, if you bought this shed from a dealer, it would cost you anywhere from $2,700 to $3,000 delivered. You can also buy a kit for this shed for about $1,700 and you do all the assembly. Using our upcycled parts, we spent about 1/3 that amount to pay for our floor system, the siding, and the roof. Everything else was recycled. We did this video to provide a general overview of how our pallet sheds are put together. We'll do some more detailed videos later on and get in a little bit tighter on how everything's put together. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more, subscribe to our channel, and if you're ever in the area, come and see us in Decatur, Texas.